Hi, everybody. How are you today? Well, I hope you're doing well. I'm going to go ahead and share what I have on my agenda today. So, we were talking last week about franchises. There's some websites you can go to. So, this is one of them. It's called Franchise Opportunities. And this particular website has different types of companies you can buy. Now, a lot of these, they want you to have a little bit of money in savings, or they want you to have some kind of wealth. Maybe you own properties, things like that. And then they want you to have some cash too. So, as mentioned to you before, my dad had a vending machine business. It was like a franchise, but fortunately, they stole the sodas out of the vending machine and they also stole the money too. And that happened to him two times because he decided he was going to put it in Compton, California at the parks, which wasn't the best idea. Sometimes my dad doesn't make the best ideas. Right now, he almost made some poor choices with his money this past time, and I had talked to him, and he's like, "What do you know? All you have is a house and you just have like your writing business and stuff." Well, I also teach, I also teach business. I do have my MBA. I have taken business classes. I've read tons of books. And I mean, I don't want anyone to fall into that category of just throwing money away and not thinking about tomorrow. And, you want to make sure that you're in the green and try not to be in the red. And sometimes it's really hard and you're working as hard as you can and you're still in the red. So you have to sit back and ask yourself, is it just bad timing? Is it I'm not charging enough? Is it I need more customers? Is it now nobody likes this? Because people want stuff that's hip and running. I mean, a couple of years ago, everybody was opening up boba shops. And before that, everybody was opening up cupcake stores. And before that, everybody was opening up coffee shops. And so it does get trendy. I know this lady that has a boba shop by where I live. That was the first place I went to was her shop. And then I went to a tea place. And I was just like, wow. So when my friends come to visit me, like I had a friend, I met her in California, she's from Romania. My other friend I met her in California, she's from Vietnam. And when they both came out to visit us, I was like, hey, let me take you guys to this boba shop. It's very, very sweet and it's fun. I mean, it's like got matcha and stuff, milk tea. But at a certain point, that's all she has. And it was like, oh, and then she had like this creamy cake. And that was it. So when people were suggesting, like, why don't you have food? Well, she's like in a bungalow setting. And this this particular Thai restaurant was like, hey, we can take half our place we're not even used. We're like using it for parties, but nobody comes. So she said, sure. So then they share the kitchen, and then she has her own setup, and it works great. And since then, she's even opened up a ramen place. I haven't gone to the ramen place, but she opened up a ramen place. So that's pretty cool. And so you just have to kind of change your menu a little bit. She still sells the drinks. It was milk tea boba. I mean, it was tea luck boba before. Now it's like tea and toast. I think she calls it now because she has toast. She has like grilled cheese sandwiches. She's got a Vietnamese sandwich. I had that one. I got the girls I was taking care of grilled cheese sandwiches there. And so it's nice. It's nice setup. You can go in there, eat, or you can get it to go. So these are different states. So you're in California, so let me go ahead and put California. I'm in Texas, so that's why Texas popped up. So these are actually the prices you need. Batteries plus, you need $100,000 minimum cash required. Healthy U vending, you need about 60,000 minimum cash required for that. Site Swan Web Builder, 199. Automated Investment Group, that's about 100,000. Postal Annex, 70,000. Proper Econ Academy, 50,000. I know they have some educational ones. I thought like Kumon and Huntington Learning Center. I thought like Sylvan and Score were on that too. We have Zoom, Groom, Mobile Spa, 90,000. Buster's Real Ice Cream. Oh, that was so good. I went to Buster's a couple times when I was in Cypress, California. Comfort Keepers. Disney Angels, Home Instead. Those are like in-home healthcare. Those are also a franchise. Claim Tech Systems, 20,000. Minutemen Press, 50,000. NTV, 30,000. Home health care, 100,000. Decorating den, 50,000. Glow 30 is 300,000. Salty dog, 100,000. Blue Coast savings, 70,000. Loyalty business, 100,000. Fluffy pet wash, 80,000. Zoom room, 200,000. Overtime athletics, 20,000. So you can see a lot of these have to do with like in-home healthcare or fitness, caring senior services, 100,000. Pest control, another one, 50,000. You have a Efficient Academy, which is AI. We have Glass Doctor, Pinch a Penny Pool, Bagel Run, Closets, Bill Kids School, Pink's Window Services, Roofing, College Hunks, 50,000. There was a College Hunks by my house, and I called them, and I had to pay them like $450, but they did haul my stuff away, so that was cool. Boost Healthcare. I know American Healthcare, they take insurances like Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're a franchise too, but they have real doctors and nurses there. They have them all over the place. They have them in different states too. So there's just some examples of different franchise opportunities. Oops. So that was franchise opportunities. If you go to Franchise Direct, they also have some. So a lot of these have different ones. So let me do like coffee. There's coffee ones. Coffee, healthier vending. And Visiting Angels, like I said, that one is one. It's about $50,000. I worked there. I worked at home instead before too. Synergy Healthcare is 50,000. A home at home, home well, home watchers, home helpers. They're all around the same price. Like 50,000 usually to 100,000. Assisting hands. Franchise Solutions is another one. A lot of them have like the same ones. Okay, so this is How to Start a Franchise by Buzzy. This is from about 2 years ago, so it's roughly fresh. The post contains affiliate links, and we may receive a commission if you make a purchase using these links. Running a new business can be daunting, but opening a franchise business, you don't have to start from scratch. A franchise allows you to operate under a recognizable name with established customer base. The best part, franchise businesses have established business models, training opportunities, support lines, and mentorship that help you feel alone in the early stages of a business development. Here we go, everything that you need to know about starting a franchise business, including pros and cons, steps, costs, and commonly asked questions. What is a franchise and what business does it have to do with work? Oh, I have a little video to show you right before. Hold on. The origin of a franchise. Trying to get the commercial off.
But
quick, what's common between beef burgers, baseball training, and auto mufflers? Tough question. Let's ask it another way. What's the common factor between McDonald's, D-Bat, and Meineke? You may know the answer if, along with the Big Mac, you've absorbed a fragment of the romantic story of Ray Kroc. He's the salesman who created what became the world's biggest fast food chain. He did it by making a deal with a couple of men called the McDonald's, brothers they were, owners of a small restaurant chain, and the deal was he could use their brand name and their methods. Then he invited small entrepreneurs to open McDonald's that they'd run as operators, with an ownership stake. Very different than the business model where mom and pop stores have full ownership but no similar support. All the examples in my opening question are franchise operation. Kroc is sometimes credited with inventing franchising, and so is Isaac Singer, the sewing machine magnate. Not so. The real genesis of franchising was not in stitches or beef. It was in beauty. Martha Matilda Harper was a Canadian-born maid. She made the beds, cleaned house, did the shopping. In the employment of a doctor's family in Ontario, she acquired a secret formula for shampoo, one more scientifically based than the quackeries advertised every day in the newspapers. The kindly doctor also taught the maturing young woman the elements of physiology. Martha had a secret ambition to go along with the secret formula, a determination to run her own business. By 1888, serving as a maid in Rochester, New York, she'd saved enough money, $360, to think of opening a public hairdressing salon. But before she could realize her dream, 2 blows fell. She became sick and collapsed from exhaustion. Mrs. Helen Smith, a healing practitioner of the Christian Science faith, was summoned to her bedside. The 2 women prayed, and Martha recovered. No sooner was she better than she was told, "Oh no, you can't rent the place you lied." You see, her venture was to be the first public hairdressing salon. A woman in business was shocking enough then. Only 17% of the workforce in 1890 was female. But a woman carrying out hairdressing and skin care in a public place, why, it was sure to invite a scandal. Martha spent some of her savings on a lawyer and won her case. She proudly displayed on the door of her new salon a photograph of the barely 5-foot Martha as Rapunzel, with hair down to her feet, but glowing with good health. Her sickness, too, had proved a boon. Her ambition was now propelled by Christian Science values. The Harper method, as she came to call her services, was as much about servicing the soul as it was about cutting hair. In the therapeutic serenity of her salon, she taught that every person could glow with the kind of beauty she had, if spiritually whole and physically obedient to what she called the laws of cleanliness, nourishment, exercise, and breathing. She was very practical about it. She even designed the first reclining shampoo chair, though she neglected to patent the invention. Martha's salon was a huge success. Celebrities came from out of town to experience the Harper method. They enjoyed the service so much that they urged her to set up a salon in their cities. And this is where Martha's ethical sense inspired her crowning innovation. Instead of commissioning agents, as other innovators had done, from 1891 she installed working-class women just like herself in salons exactly like hers, dedicated to her philosophy and her products. But these new employees were not provided a salary by Martha. The women in what became a satellite network of 500 salons in America and then Europe and Central America and Asia actually own the Harper salons. What was good enough in the 19th century for suffragette campaigners like Susan B. Anthony, and was good enough in the 20th century for Woodrow Wilson, Calvin and Grace Coolidge, Jacqueline Kennedy, Helen Hayes, and Lady Bird Johnson, must be good enough for the rest of the world. Today, only the Harper Method founder's shop remains in Rochester, New York, but Martha's legacy is manifold. Her health and beauty treatments have been copied, and her business model is dominant. In fact, half of retail sales in America are through Martha Harper's franchising idea. So next time you enjoy a McDonald's hamburger or a good night's rest at a Days Inn, think of Martha, because these franchises might not be the same without her inventing the model over a century ago.
Right. That's really good, right?
The client review was
So yeah,
brutal.
even like places like Days Inn, those are also franchises. Okay, how did
The next time you pull up to the drive-thru, you may not know it, but you're part of a business model that's fraught with turmoil. The model's called franchising, and it's spreading. Maybe you've heard the phrase fast food franchise, but do you really know what it means or how it works? You might be surprised by how franchising is affecting your community and the whole economy. We're talking way more than burgers and fries. On one side, a company decides it has a good thing going. It wants to expand, but it doesn't want to run all the new locations. It's just not familiar enough with those places. It might be short on money for the expansion, and it doesn't want to employ a bunch of local workers. And the company wants the person in charge of each location to be someone special, someone with skin in the game. On the other side is that special person. She wants to start a business. She knows the local market. She has some money to invest or can qualify for a loan. But not enough to buy property, fix it up, and buy all her equipment. And maybe not enough for much marketing. She might not know the industry very well and would rather not go it alone. So, the sides make a deal. The company gives its new franchisee what she needs to hit the ground running. She takes the company's training course and pays an initial fee for the franchise. The franchise model depends on a good brand. That means more than anything, consistency. If it's fast food, you'll see the same thing at every drive-thru window. Cashiers wearing the same logo, menus offering the same food, all prepared in the same way. The customers remain loyal to the brand, no matter where they go. What protects the brand is the franchise agreement. The rules for a franchisee might cover everything from operating hours to where she buys supplies. The agreement also requires the franchisee to pay royalties, typically 5 to 10% of the location's sales. But there's no guarantee the franchise will flourish. Franchisees go belly up about as often as unfranchised owners. Still, many franchisees manage to hang on. Some do well, even open other locations. The company and its franchisees don't always see eye to eye. The company might impose a higher royalty. It might limit any flexibility in finding supplies and setting prices. The franchisee can start to feel overburdened. But if she doesn't sign on and follow the rules, the company might take over the franchise. She might lose her business. For the company's part, it has reasons to write rules and enforce them. Making all franchisees buy from the same supplier can help bring down cost, and higher fees can fund more advertising. The company also wants its franchisees to follow standard rules. Freeloading on the brand is not allowed. Franchise employees, the folks who work behind the cash register, let's say, they're not known for earning big bucks. But economists disagree about why. Some blame the wages and work conditions on the industries. where franchising has taken off, where competition is cutthroat and the jobs are low-skilled. Other economists blame low wages on the franchise model itself. When a company franchises, they point out, it's adding extra owners. That means more people taking slices of the pie, so there's more pressure to cut costs, like wages. And this leaves less money for the workers. There's another debate about franchising: how it affects the economy. One side claims the model has proven itself more efficient. That can mean lower prices for consumers and more consumption. So, more production and more jobs. The other side claims that franchising leaves the workers with less money for buying stuff. And that means less consumption, less production, and fewer jobs. We'll let the experts keep fighting about that. One thing is clear, though. This way of doing business, the franchise model, it's spreading. Gas stations, car dealerships, restaurants, convenience stores, hotels, eyewear retailers, tax services, childcare centers, legal services, news media, janitorial services, home health care, dry cleaners, salons, house cleaning, IT support, carpet cleaning, pet supplies, hardware store, tutoring, gyms, real estate, printing, lawn care, embroidery services, play places, sign stores, battery stores, laundromats, coffee shops, garage door repair, computer repair, cell phone repair, ice cream shops, shipping services, massage services, car rental, leak detection, window cleaning, plumbers, home inspection, HVAC repair, travel agencies, marketing.
Yeah. All eyes on you. Who that is? Wow, you look good. Who's that girl?
No matter your crew, Toyota has an SUV for you.
So when we think about franchise, it is different than like pyramid businesses like Mary Kay and Jafra. My sister was Mary Kay. My mom was Jafra. I was Party Light Candles. My friend also does Mary Kay. And I know somebody that does Pampers Chef. I know people that do Cutco. Those are not franchises. Those are like small uh businesses like Avon. You know, you're connected to the big company and you're selling for them, and you're getting a little bit of profit. Did I do really good when I was doing party lights? Not really. They're overpriced candles, which are great. Everybody loves candles, except for the fact that people don't really care. They don't really care if it's natural. They don't really care if it's soy or non-carcinogenic. They just like the price, you know? So a lot of people are like, no, I'm gonna skip it. You know, get like a Dollar Tree one. And who cares if it's carcinogenic? I'm just gonna burn it for a couple hours and it's gonna die anyway. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of money. But that's okay, it's people's choices. And so I didn't really make much money. And that's how it went. But what is a franchise business and how does it work? A franchise is a type of business that is formed with two parties. The franchisor and franchisee agree to collaborate with the formation of a business under a franchisor's name and branding. An established business, known as franchisors, grants permission to a franchisee to operate. In return, a franchisee agrees to pay a fee to the right to open a new business location and sell the same products or services as a franchisor. A franchisee are required to follow the franchisor's process and pay royalties consisting of predetermined percentage of earned profits. Currently, there's close to 800,000 franchisee businesses in the United States. Unlike starting a business from scratch, starting a franchisee business follows a trend and tests a business model with successful track record. The most popular franchise business to date is McDonald's, with over 38,000 locations in 100 countries. In addition to McDonald's, some of the top franchisees include coffee shops, service stations, and real estate agencies, and well-known names that you're sure to recognize, like Dunkin' Donuts, Jiffy Lube, and Century 21. Once the initial franchisee fee is paid, for example, McDonald's, the fee is about $45,000. The franchisor would also need to pay a monthly service fee consisting of 4% of location overall sales. Benefits of a franchisee. Amir Afran, the editor-in-chief of Inside Tech World, says that compared to businesses built from the ground up, franchisors come with several benefits. First of all, you do not need to have any substantial industry experience, says Efron. Secondly, you don't need to make an effort to set up the entire business. You're already getting a well-run business that has captured the market. You also have ample support for franchisor owner. Additional benefits include name of recognition, the Insight tried and tested products and services, location design, decor standards, proven techniques, and running business, procedures for employee training, ongoing help with promotion and product services. We have Pito, Chief Operating Officer at Financier.com, points out another benefit, job satisfaction. So if you're not really sure, they say Subway is like one of the best franchises because they have trainings that you can go to and their support. I do know people that have owned McDonald's, like their parents, and they also like it. I do have one friend, her parents own McDonald's and she hates it till today. She doesn't even want her kids to eat there. She says really it's really bad junk food. Right? So she absolutely hates it. And her kids are pretty healthy. But the interesting thing is she absolutely hates McDonald's till today. Even though like her dad would have pictures of her there. Like family pictures on the walls and stuff. It was totally crazy. But yeah, it's the Majoni family. They own a bunch of them in Los Angeles and also Orange County locations. The crazy thing was I was working in Koreatown and there's one on Wilshire. It's gone now. It had like a lot of homeless people in it, but now it's like a Thai restaurant. And they own that one. They own the one by my parents' house that got sold to another family. They own the one across the street from my high school. So they're like all over the place. Franchisors are usually generally happy with their jobs and they get much support from franchisors. We have research. You want to choose the right franchise business. Research everything from the needs of your customers to the current market conditions for your chosen industry. Ask yourself critical questions. What types of services and products is your community lacking? Is there a lot of foot traffic in the area you're looking to set up shop? How are the places to park? What are the other competing businesses close and you should know about? Will you need to lease or buy your property and how much can you afford? What are the stock market trends with your potential franchisor? Contact franchisees. When you're ready, get in touch with the current franchisors and gather information. Try searching online for community forums and chatting with your fellow entrepreneurs. They may be message boards where your questions have already been answered, and better yet, visit the current franchise locations and ask the owners and staff questions. See what attracts customers to businesses and try to find out how much owners spent to get the business up and running. Estimate costs. Before you actually buy a franchise, make sure you have franchises in order. Do you have the money to set aside to cover the initial costs? Do you want partners or members or your LLC to share financial responsibilities with you? Are you aware that lending requirements from your bank? What about proper funds? Are you unlikely to succeed with franchising plans? The investment of the initial franchise fee can be hefty, starting with tens of thousands of dollars. Your total cost starting with a franchise business can even run over $1 million in some most. Successful ones are Culver's Restaurant, KFC, McDonald's, and Dunkin'. Have a business plan ready. Whether you're starting a franchise or not, a new small business owner should have a goal in mind to create a plan to meet that goal. Writing a business plan can provide a roadmap to these goals along with milestones of achievement. For a franchise business, it may translate into increased sales, productivity, and expansion plans. How do you plan to make franchise business a success? Your business plan should be able to answer these questions in full. Start the application process. Once you settle a franchise, it's time to reach out and begin a conversation with the franchisor. Big franchise businesses will help a likely process in place for potential franchisees. They're going to explain the franchise and develop a nitty-gritty of how things work by connecting you to key department and contact focus on development, construction, operation, real estate, and more. If everything looks good and franchisor deem you qualified, you're going to be presented with a franchise agreement. Details in franchise agreement may include the following: fees and expenses, royalties, marketing, training, etc., supply of products, trademark, and intellectual property, advertising, site selection and location, building requirements, duration, operation guidelines, competence, support and training, maintenance and revocations, records and bookkeeping. We want to negotiate terms. Once you identify a franchise plan to invest, you've met all the qualifications. Time to negotiate the terms of the agreement. Justin Carpenter, who owns and operates Modern Maids franchise, notes that depending on franchise, there may be significant upfront costs involved, ranging from franchise fees to legal advertisement or administrative fee costs. Once you sign the contract, negotiate terms agreement. As noted by Carpenter, this includes things like royalty payments, marketing fees, and financial considerations. Review the franchise's franchisee disclosure document, a legal document presented by potential buyers during pre-sale meeting, where the franchising process is disclosed, and the document contains key information about franchisor, including business experience, initial fees, trademarks, litigation, patents, outlets, and franchise information, and more. Create your business entity. A franchise will operate the franchise as an independent contractor, which probably won't provide any protection to your assets. Form a limited liability, LLC, and other business entity means your personal property and assets stay protected and separated from business in case of bankruptcy or lawsuit. You also have more options of how to file your taxes, potentially leading to savings. To form your entity, you're going to need to follow a requirement of the Secretary of State, Secretary of State, which include filing articles of organization, assigning a registered agent, and creating an operating agreement, all which Biz can help you. Get the right licenses and permits. Understand types of permits and licenses you're going to legally run your own business to make sure you acquire them. If you're opening a food service, such as a restaurant, for example, you're going to need food service license, food handler's permit, and health permit. You're also going to serve alcohol. You're going to need a liquor license. Business's license, rescue package, uncovers the licensures and permits you're going to need by checking the city, county, and state. Make sure you check with your franchisor any additional requirements. Hire and train your employees. Before hiring, check the franchisor or reach out directly to other business owners in your franchise and see if they have any job-related roles, descriptions, or requirements that you should be aware of when seeking employees. Franchise may also provide you with training manuals and guidelines for the following process. Hiring process when it comes to making a final decision on staffing, hiring the right people and your responsibility, reliable, motivated, trustworthy, and staff will cultivate a present work environment that will benefit employees and customers alike. Promote your business, advertising and marketing. Your business will help you get your word out, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to need to break the bank, and operating with limited budget doesn't mean you're going to still have to plan big. Social media and online aids can reach a large audience in a short period of time. A grand opening may also be a great opportunity to provide special offers and product promotions. Consult a franchisor who might have tried and true strategy to making your grand opening a success in the social media websites. All right, so as stated earlier, franchisor will also need to pay franchise initial franchise fee, followed by a monthly royalty and gross profits. Depending on the agreement and percentage, it can comprise a sizable portion of the business revenue. So to get the idea of the cost, you can look at right here the average McDonald's monthly revenue along with royalty percentage. According to the graph above, the yearly cost of running a McDonald's franchise is roughly $119,976. So keep in mind the first year's operating is going to be about $45,000, bumping it up to whooping $164,700. And so initial add-ups would be inventory, equipment, payroll, rent, utilities, loans, maintenance, advertising, and marketing. Your homework this week is going to look at the pros and cons of opening a franchise. We've looked at that before, but we're in week 12, so we kind of moved on. So do look at this and tell me if you think that your ideas are the same or have they changed. Let's go ahead and look at pros and cons of a franchise.
Ready to tackle your debt? We can help. A Stretch Financial Wellness Vision subscription can help you visualize your debt picture, boost your
hi there. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, we provide business tips and financing advice for entrepreneurs like you. Today we're diving into a hot topic, the pros and cons of owning a franchise. Whether you're considering buying into a franchise or just curious about the process, this video is for you. Let's get started. First, let me talk about the benefits of owning a franchise. Typically, it's a proven business model. Franchises are usually based on a business model that has already a proven successful track record. This reduces the risk of failure compared to starting a business from scratch. Number two, brand recognition. Franchises often come with a recognized brand name. This can attract customers right off the bat and provide immediate trust. Training and support. As a franchisee, you usually receive training and ongoing support from the franchisor. This is huge advantage, especially if you're new to the business world. Marketing assistance. Many franchisors provide marketing and advertising support, which can boost your visibility and sales. Easier access to financing. Banks are often more willing to lend money to a franchise because it's based on a proven business model. Purchasing power. Being a part of a larger organization means that you can negotiate better deals with suppliers. Location assistance. Many franchisors help you find the best location for your business location, which can make or break you. So this support can be invaluable. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows here. Here are some of the potential drawbacks of owning a franchise. Initial and ongoing costs. Franchises can be costly to start and maintain. You'll have to pay initial franchise fees, ongoing royalties, and possibly contribute to a national advertising fund. Lack of control. As a franchisee, you're required to follow the franchisor's guidelines. This can limit your creativity and your autonomy. There you go. Dependence on the franchisor. Your success is partially dependent on the performance of the franchisor and other franchisees. Territorial restrictions. Franchisors often place restrictions on you where you can operate, which can limit your growth potential. Now, you can own many territories, obviously. Profit sharing. You often typically have to share a portion of your profits with the franchisor. That could be a royalty. Risk of the franchise failing. Even with a proven business model, there's still a risk that your franchise could fail due to market changes or strong competition. Contractual agreement. You'll be bound by a legal agreement that can be hard to change or get out of. In these agreements, the franchisor usually has the upper hand. At the end of the day, I still believe that owning the right franchise for you is a sure path to financial success.
Are you trying to escape the W-2 rat race? Or have you always wanted to own your own business? Have you ever thought about owning a franchise? If so, FranUniversity.com can help. Our training program teaches you everything you need to know about franchise ownership, from choosing the right franchise to launching and running your business. We have the resources and specialists to help you from A to Z. You'll gain the skills and knowledge you need to succeed as a franchise owner. The best part? It's free to join. Go to FranUniversity.com.
Franchisees play a huge role in our national GDP, and they're growing larger every day. If you want to find out what kind of franchises might be a good fit for you, take our free no obligation franchise matching assessment at franprofile.com.
So that's an option you can do. You can go to a franchise website like that and just put different interests, and they'll give you some ideas about companies in your range and your subject matter.
Remember, you have to do your due diligence by consulting with professionals, loan experts, and make sure you're making the best decision possible. That's a starting point where most franchise brokers and franchisors want you to start, because that's going to help see if you're going to be a good fit for that franchise concept. It also helps the franchise broker bring you franchises that might fit your skill sets and lifestyle. So that's just one of the tools that a franchise broker can offer. But hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on future episodes and content like this. Once again, my name is Bo Eckstein, and I hope you enjoyed this episode where we talk about the pros and cons of owning a franchise. Hey guys, Bo Eckstein here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.
Geico's 24/7 emergency roadside service means help for my bike is just a tap away. I'm happy as a clam.
Okay, here's a video. The beauty of franchising.
Not been an easy one. There's so much happening in our world that feels out.
And I saw the list of speakers. I had to think, what can me as a business owner really bring to the table? And that's why for the next 15 minutes, I want to talk about this idea of earning while caring. Finding that intersection between your purpose and profit. Because I started my journey really as an entrepreneur in business. My parents, my siblings are all entrepreneurs. My grandfather is a business owner. My great-grandfather was an entrepreneur. So talking about business is very normal when we have lunch, when we have dinner. And my entrepreneurial journey started when I was grade 3 here in Xavier School, just in one of the classrooms over there. And I noticed back then, a lot of my friends had Walkmans. Now, I know this is a Gen Z crowd. I can see a lot of blank stares. Ano yun? Ano ang Walkman? I can see some people here asking ChatGPT, what's a Walkman? So, that's a Walkman. Okay? It's what people use to play music. The best explanation given to me before was my Gen Z assistant manager. So she said, a Walkman, that's an iPod that needs a cassette tape to have some music. And that's what I found out. I said people needed so much cassette tapes because one cassette tape could only hold on 2 hours of music. So I sold cassette tapes in grade 3. I sold about 100. And back then, my big purpose was so I can buy extra barbecue during recess. And some leftover, I donated to church when we go to church on Sunday. Because that's really the idea before of what profit and purpose was. It was always about trying to balance profit and purpose. If I have a lot of profit, I put that and donate it somewhere. I have a CSR department. Most of the big companies, they have a CSR department. And I need to generate profit so that, those departments can do whatever they want, support the charity. But what I want to instill in everyone here today is this idea that it's not about balancing. Because when profit goes down, the first thing that's taken out is the CSR budget. What I want us to look at is, how can I make a profit while fulfilling my purpose? That profit and purpose intersect. They're intertwined. That you're generating profit because exactly you're actually fulfilling your purpose. And I got exposed to this first in Unilever. I spent mga 10 years of my life doing global marketing in Unilever. And they were the first ones to talk about the purpose-driven marketing. That beyond profit, brands should serve a social good. That brands should have a bigger purpose. That's why you have brands such as Dove. They were one of the first to really talk about real beauty, breaking that stereotype of what beauty is about. Or the brand that I worked with was Sunsilk, a shampoo brand. But beyond selling shampoo, it was about trying to uplift and helping women open up to new possibilities. And that was satisfying for quite a few years. I spent about 10 years in Unilever, working in Bangkok, in Shanghai, eventually in London. But after a while, it didn't feel enough. I wanted to do something more direct. I wanted to come back to the Philippines and do something for the Philippines. And that's where my dad introduced to me FranCorp. FranCorp is a franchise consulting company. And I love the purpose of FranCorp because it was all about creating jobs. So FranCorp was here to generate jobs. And I love this idea of creating jobs because when a job is created, number one, you're giving someone income. Second, you're giving them a sense of identity. And third, something I just actually heard 2 weeks ago by a talk by Mayor Isko Moreno, former Mayor Isko Moreno, Yorme, to a lot of us. Sabi niya, when jobs are created in Manila, crime goes down. So I love this idea na if we create more jobs, it has so much societal good. It's going to help a lot. And that's what FrontCorp does. FrontCorp creates jobs not for free. We do it because we help brands that want to franchise. We help brands, we help people become their own boss.
Step back, back it up. Left, back it up, back it up, back it up. Step back. Thank you very much.
Because every franchise that opens creates dozens of new jobs. And I love this idea that we did not have a CSR department. I did not need a CSR department. Because what we do every single day, every time I'm able to help a client, I'm directly creating new jobs. And so I wanted to come back. So sabi ko, great, I love that purpose. I want to come back. And I'd love to say that, it's so easy. As soon as you find your North Star, as soon as you find your purpose, just jump, just go for it. But there are practical considerations. Back then, I was expecting a baby. I'd have to come back. I was an expat in Unilever. I was expatriated to London. If I came back, I would have had to take a 90% pay cut. I would be making less than I was when I started as a trainee in Unilever. And it's not easy. It's not easy to decide these things. But I knew I wanted to come back. And this is how you have to work on it. So I had to work on it. That's why I took my postgraduate in Oxford. I said, hey, I want to study. I want to see how can I grow. What else can I do to grow this business to be able to come back so that not only am I able to fulfill a purpose, I'm also able to combine that, with financial stability. And that's what I did. So I came back, and after 10 years in Unilever, I decided to come back and, to stop selling shampoo. So from a life of selling shampoo, I went to a life of creating jobs through franchising. And thankfully, we were able to grow the business. So we were able to grow the business. It became a lot more profitable, and it kept on allowing us to help a lot of people and to create even more jobs. Now, one of the biggest things I feel that I got from FrontCorp is not financial. It's a fact that I was able to get exposed to a lot more entrepreneurs who mix profit and purpose. People such as Benjamin Lewson, the founder, the owner of the generics pharmacy. His purpose, what he wanted? He wanted to lower the healthcare cost in the Philippines. Because he said, when you go into a pharmacy before, a paracetamol cost 6 pesos. But he could see all over the world, you could get it at below 1 peso. So he started distributing medicines. They bought medicines, they were trying to sell it. But the pharmacies wouldn't take it because they'd have to lower. They'd have less income if they sold this. So what he did, he opened one store just below his office. People started to flock. People came from all over Metro Manila lining up to buy his medicines. And he knew he was onto something. So he scaled it up. He said he asked us to help him with franchising. He scaled up to about 900 stores in 3 years. And then later on, about 2,000 stores in about 8 years. So because of that business model he found, he's now able to help millions of Filipinos gain affordable medication. Not only that, he's also helped generate about 10,000 new jobs. Another inspiration for me is Mr. Dante Tiosan. Not many of you would know him. Dante Tiosan's a visually impaired entrepreneur. His mission, he said, he wants to help his fellow visually impaired individuals. Because he saw in the Philippines, if you're blind, government comes in, trains you how to do a massage because they have superior sense of touch. And so he saw there were 100 trained individuals, but they couldn't get clients. Because they couldn't just approach someone, they couldn't go to home service and find their clients. So what he did, he got a few of them, about 5 or 6 of them, Open Vibes Massage, visually impaired brotherhood for excellent service. And true enough, he opened that, people came. People kept coming and coming back. And he wanted to scale that up as well. I'm happy he approached us. We helped him develop a franchise program. And he wanted the franchisees to also be visually impaired. So we had to create an audio operations manual, everything, None of the current technology we had would work. So we had to get everything audio. And I met Mr. Tiosan in 2018. It was their 10th year anniversary. And he was telling me he already has 60 stores. He's helping 800 blind individuals. In fact, his biggest problem was he was running out of people to hire. His joke back then, pag nasa mall daw siya, gusto niyang sundutin yung mga mata ng mga tao para lang may bago siyang bulag na matulungan. Imagine that. Imagine if you set yourself out on a purpose and you find yourself to a point where you're running out of people to help just because he's able to combine profit and purpose. And so, profit is here to multiply our impact. Purpose is here to steer us. So your purpose is critical. It will help steer you towards the right direction and avoid going down the wrong path. But I challenge you that you need to also think of how to multiply that impact. For jobs, for example, if I wanted to create jobs, I could have come back and said, okay, I'll join the DTI. Or maybe, I'll be a recruiter. I'll do talks to train people how to find jobs, how to create jobs. But then I realized with that, I would have been able to help 10 people, 20 people at a time. But because we have a business model that generates profit, that becomes sustainable, the franchise industries help create over 2 million jobs. And the critical thing as well is that when times are hard, it is this intersection that helps get you through. We all just went through the pandemic. And imagine, most of our clients had to temporarily close their businesses. They were fighting for their survival. So they could not afford consulting companies. Most of them stopped paying us. And of course, we allowed them to do that because they needed the money to keep the employees they could keep. But because of our purpose, if all we wanted was profit, I should have fired most of my team. I should have conserved as much as cash because we didn't have clients. But our purpose was creating jobs. And we were very clear. We can't be the people creating jobs, but at the same time, we couldn't even keep the 60 people that was working for us. So early on, we decided we will keep their jobs. We will keep their income. We will do what we can. But that's only enabled because of the profits we generated beforehand, of the savings we had. And that's the importance of finding this intersection. You could also have a purpose of helping farmers, getting into food and hunger. And you could go directly to some farmers, you could buy products from farmers. And during the pandemic, many people bought, a lot of produce from farmers and started selling it direct to communities. And that's good. If you can find a way to directly help, go help. But that helped 1 or 2 farmers at a time. You always have to think, challenge yourself. How can I multiply that impact? Because the effort to help 5 people is probably the same effort to help 5,000, 50,000. It just requires a change in mindset. My auntie, for example, tried to connect farmers, farmers with their misshapen vegetables, small potatoes that no one would buy, that the groceries wouldn't buy. They tried to directly connect the farmers with restaurant owners.
From idea to submission, empower students to do their best work with Grammarly's comprehensive AI writing assistance. What if they could jumpstart ideas for any assignment?
Who didn't mind if something's misshapen, if there's a bit of a dent in a cucumber? They still needed it as long as it tasted good. So with that, they were able to connect them. They've helped over 70,000 farmers and about 10,000 businesses. And there's also these two friends of mine. You know, I use numbers of 70,000, 2 million. It sounds like a lot. But two friends of mine, all they wanted was to uplift women in poverty. At first, they tried to just donate to them. The usual, donate, do fundraising for communities. But what they did finally is said, that's not sustainable. So they actually trained them to do housekeeping, professional housekeeping, and cited happy helpers. They get homeowners, condo owners who want their condos cleaned by someone professional and trustworthy. And they created a business out of it. They've helped over 3 different communities now, about 80 plus women being helped. And so, as I end my talk, I want you to think, as you find your purpose, as you find your North Star, always think of how can you multiply that effort. And it doesn't have to be business, whether in a school organization, your next fundraising drive. You know, don't just rely on donations and how can I get, because that may not be sustainable. Think of how can you create a business model that allows you to scale that up to make it more sustainable. And I want to end with this quote from Mr. Dante Tiosan. It's good to earn while caring. Thank you very much.
Good. So the pros and cons of a franchise. There's no easy path to follow when it comes to small business ownership, and that holds true when starting a franchise business. Entrepreneurs and small business owners should understand the advantages and potential risk and disadvantages of owning a franchise business. Pros of starting a franchise: you're starting a company with history, reputation, and recognizable brand. You know product and service you're selling and can forego a trial and error process since it's already been done. You are marketing and advertising a known brand or product, which is less likely to be introducing a new product or service. You may already have a strong customer base in place of your business. You have support of the franchisor when it comes to process and training. The cons of starting a franchise. Starting a franchise will only come with a higher cost, including fees and loyalties. You may have limited options when it comes to working with vendors or offering products that are not part of the franchise's brand. Your independent decision-making may be limited, if not restricted, by regulations and rules set by the franchisor. Your franchisees may be open to scrutiny by the franchisor. And you will need to follow the terms speculated by your contract. Last is The Critical by Jonathan Escher of Ecom Hollow. Reminds us, with any business venture, you must pay close attention to your contact. They're typically long-term contacts, said Elster. Your contract will probably state when and how you sell your business and what changes you can make. Franchise frequently asked questions. How much do you need to start a franchise? On average, initial licensing costs can range between $20,000 to $50,000. Above and beyond the fee, it's important to have a liquid capital to cover additional expenses, including equipment and suppliers, rent, and staff. In total, $100,000 would be a good round number. However, liquid cash obligations can also be deepening the franchise and requirements of the franchisor. The larger, more well-known business franchise, the more money will be required to run a business. For example, McDonald's franchise applicants are required to have about $500,000 liquid capital. However, newer franchises can be cheaper because they have lower fees and royalties. Do franchise owners make money? According to Vajo, franchising has potential to be a profitable venture for those willing to make significant long-term investment. The average annual income for franchisees in the U.S. is $80,000, according to study at Franchise Business Review of 2021. This figure can widely be depending on the industry, franchise size, and location. Ultimately, however, the amount of money earned by franchisees will depend on how well a business is doing overall. Owner's income will depend on how much is left, since the royalty fees, loans, and rent, supplies, salaries, and other expenses have been paid. Can you just buy a franchise? Anyone approved by a franchisor can buy a franchise as long as they have financial means, either through personal capital, partnership, or loans. How do you become a franchisor? If you're a business owner with successful product or service, one option is expanding your business and earning more money is to become a franchisor. If you're at this stage, here's what you need to attract of your potential franchisees. Prepare a franchise disclosure. Establish terms of franchise, including initial fee and royalties. Create manuals how to operate a business and train staff. Set a business plan to attract franchisees. Start your franchise with the BZ. You could do that. There's different websites. This is just one of them. Thousands of small business owners have ventured into entrepreneurship by starting a franchise. Although the path comes with many benefits, including support from a franchisor, it's always good to have additional help along the way. Here at BZ, you can use your startup business checklist to ensure that you handle additional business information. Found a registered agent. Submitted annual reports and secured your finance and bookkeeping needs and more. That was written by Peter Marfus. All right, well, thank you so much. Don't forget to do your discussion and summary for the week. Bye.